Hello, magical people of the internet. I am Jen, and welcome to my vlog I never thought I would, where we talk about doing things we never thought we would do and the unexpected places that they can lead us. I have a wonderful guest today. His name is Mike Iamele. He is an author and a purpose and brand strategist. Hi, Mike.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to chat today. As always on the show, we talk about doing something we never thought we would do and how getting out of our box or our comfort zone usually leads us to some wonderfully unexpected places. So I am so excited to hear your story today.
Yeah, so the thing I never thought I would do is never thought I'd figure out my freaking purpose. And so this story, it starts back early in life. I was 22. I started a public relations agency. So I was pretty successful early on. And I worked with a lot of, tech billionaires, celebrities, healthcare politicians, people like that. And then a few years later, I woke up and I started vomiting blood. And that didn't stop for a few months. And as you can imagine, this was terrifying, right? I'm vomiting blood every day. I wasn't able to eat. The most mortifying moment of my life, I went to work and I had to go to the bathroom and I didn't make it in time. And I shit my pants at work. I mean, it was a devastating moment in my life.
Oh my.
And there it was just, I was getting sicker and sicker. I was going to the emergency room, to different doctors, and I was diagnosed with a few different things. Most of it was something autoimmune, but nobody really knew what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had two roommates, and one of them was my older sister's friend who had moved to the city recently. And so I just kind of asked her to come move in with me because she didn't have anywhere to live. And the other roommate was a guy I knew from college who also had nowhere to live. And so we were a hodgepodge of people. And so my older sister's friend had recently started dating someone, and she spent about half the week at his house. And so just by default, this guy I knew from college, Garrett, really became my primary caretaker. I couldn't pick up my prescriptions. I couldn't drive myself to appointments. And so he would take care of me, sometimes cook for me when I couldn't get off the couch.
Hmm.
And about 2 months into this arrangement, I realized I was developing feelings for him. And, to give you context, I had never, I'd only dated women, never been with a man, never consciously been interested in a man.
Mhm.
But, it didn't feel sexual. It didn't even necessarily feel romantic, but it felt like something is happening here.
Mhm.
And I think that part of me thought, is this just because I think I'm going to die? And this is like the closest human in proximity. So there might be something here. And I think had I not thought I was going to die, I probably would have brushed this under the rug. And this would have just been like, whatever, passing thing. But I thought I could die any day now. And I thought, I just have to, I can't suppress anything, right? Like I'm getting sicker and sicker. I have to share it all. And
Yeah.
so at the time, I was writing handwritten letters to every member of my family, telling them everything I've never said to them. Because I was just trying anything to get better. And
Mhm.
so I said, I got to do that with him. And so I decided I was just going to tell him. And I got up the nerve to say, hey, Garrett, I don't know how you react. I don't know what this is going to mean for you, but like I feel something here and I don't know what that looks like.
Mhm.
And thankfully, Garrett is the most thoughtful person in the entire world. And so he said, okay, let me sit with this. Let me think about it. And that led to 2 months of conversation, which led to 2 years of exploring if a relationship can work.
Mhm.
And so here we are exploring this relationship. And, we still dated women. We were kind of not exclusive and figuring out, is this something we want? Well, today we are married. So we've been together for now about a decade. And long story short, at the same time, I knew I had to leave my job, right? If I was getting this sick, I knew I had to leave my job.
Mhm.
And so I decided to give a year's notice at work. Now, for anyone listening, I never recommend you do that. But I was an owner of this company. And so I thought it's not responsible to just ditch and leave my partners. I wanted to give a year so we could restructure things. And so in that year, I went to herbalism school because herbs had helped me heal. I
Mhm.
went to nutrition school. And so you can imagine I'm working full time. I'm going to herbalism and nutrition school full time. I
Mhm.
am navigating my first same sex relationship and I'm healing myself. It was by far the worst year of my life. Really
That's a
crazy
lot.
year.
That's a
It,
lot.
it was a lot. I felt like I was going through what for other people would be the biggest life change of their life all at once, like 5 things all at once.
Yeah.
And so I left that job, and it just so happened that December was the point at which Garrett and I decided we had just moved in, just the two of us, and we decided if this is real, we're going to start telling our family about it.
Mm-hmm.
And at basically the same time, I had left my job. So it was all happening at once.
Mm-hmm.
We told family, mostly supportive, some to varying degrees, but they got there. So mostly supportive. And I started working as an herbalist for Boston's tech entrepreneurs. And my thought was, I got really sick. I can help these people not get that sick and stressed out. But if I'm being honest with you, I didn't love it, and I wasn't making a lot of money. And I thought, well, you know what? I have always been a writer. I was in public relations for years. I have a lot of stories to tell about success. I was very, very successful at a young age, and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And I got really sick. I want to start sharing my stories. I wasn't ready to talk about my relationship yet, but I was ready to share these stories. So I started a blog, and I wrote for a few publications, and the blog got decently popular. And one day, 3 months after I started this business, a publisher reached out and said, can I give you a book deal? Just sight unseen. And I was like, does this happen? Like, I'm, yeah, you want to pay me in advance? All right, sure. And so I accepted that book deal. And I thought, I must be on my purpose, because people say that the universe just hands you things on a silver platter when you were following your bliss. This is my silver platter, right? I just get a book deal dropped in my lap. Mm-hmm. And so I write this book. And in the book, I talk about my relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think, oh shit, I better tell people about this. They can't find out on the shelves of Barnes & Noble. Like, I have to tell them about this before that book comes out. And so after I turned in my manuscript, I said, all right, I've got to write about this experience. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to write on my blog about this, and I can kind of blast it out to a lot of people at once. So I wrote on my blog, and, whatever, thousands of people, a few thousand people read this. And then a publication I was writing for at the time said, hey, Mike, would you adapt that blog post for us? Just add a few more details and we'll publish it. So, okay, it's already out there. No big difference. I will do that. So I wrote this, and I went to bed that night. And I woke up the next morning, and 100,000 people had shared it. And so it was really overwhelming. I can't tell you what it's like to wake up to millions of people talking about your sex life. It was not something I ever wanted. It wasn't something I ever planned for myself. And, I was getting thousands of emails that week, literally thousands. I mean, some from all over the world, very supportive and positive, some with people who had questions, who were in similar situations, some very negative, and a lot of hate mail, of course. And so I was very anxious. It was a really intense time. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I've got this book coming out. I have gone viral. All these people are following me. At the time, I still don't really use social media. I didn't even use it. So funny story. The only things I had on my Instagram were I signed up for a scavenger hunt, and it was a wild goose chase with Goose Island. And we had to put a sad selfie every time we didn't get the prize. And so all you saw was 20 sad faces of me. That was my only Instagram. I only downloaded it for that.
God.
I mean, this was like in the early days of Instagram, so I didn't even know much about it. That's so embarrassing.
Priceless.
Right, so embarrassing. All these people are like, what is this? And where's Garrett? And like, it was so surreal to me. So anyway, I'm like, I feel like a failure because I've got this book coming out. I've gone viral, but I don't have a business model. I'm not making money. Like, I'm still trying to figure out my stuff. And here we are at the end of this year. I haven't been working other than writing a book and doing some herbalism for a year. I'm running out of money. And so I said, all right, let me go back to the life purpose work, right? Let me try to figure this out. And I have been on every life purpose book you've imagined, every training you've imagined. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've heard, you will know your purpose by the end of these 60 minutes. Almost never happens, but I've heard that many, many times in my life. And so most of them tell you, figure out your passions, figure out your skills, figure out what the world needs, and find that middle point. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, all right, how do these things go together? Branding and public relations and same-sex relationship and writing and viral article and herbalism. It doesn't make any sense. And then I went through these exercises and I thought, oh my God, it is so obvious. It's been in front of me the whole time. I meant to create a blogging course. And I'm going to teach people how to get book deals, sure. But it's also going to be about finding your voice. It's going to be spiritual and healing yourself and knowing who you are. It's going to be so amazing. And I had almost no money, but I was like, I got to put everything into this thing. It's my purpose. So I got the lighting kit and the microphone and the business partner. I had a web designer. I had editing software, you name it. Like I put everything into this, thousands of dollars. I put this thing out into the world, just knew it would take off. And 5 people bought it. It was a colossal failure. And I lost thousands on this thing. And I just thought, I'm done. I am so done. I can't do this anymore. Like I went for it. You know, I had the viral article. I got a book deal. I went for love. Like I really put myself out there, and the world is telling me it does not want what I have to offer. And I was so devastated at this moment that I just said, I'm done. I'm going back to public relations. I'm going to beg my partners to take me back. I don't know if I have a job at my own company, but beg them to take me back. I can't do this anymore. And so I thought I will never, ever, ever know my purpose. I'm a mess. I'm all over the place. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try to flip the script, and I'm going to host a failure celebration. And the thinking around that was really like, yeah, I failed, but at least I did something that warranted failure. You know, at least I went for a risk. At least I put myself out there. That's got to be worth something. I can't leave with my tail between my legs.
Totally.
So I went back to the one thing I was still confident in, the one thing I still had confidence in, and that was branding and public relations, because I'd always been good at that. I was always helping people to tell their stories. And I thought, great, let me do this. And so I went into a Facebook group I was a part of, and I just offered as many branding sessions as I could fit in a day. I did 6, and it was like 9 hours long. I did 6 of these sessions. They were back to back to back. I had to stop sessions to pee, because I don't even care. I am just giving it all away because I'm not successful, but maybe you can be. So I gave all these sessions. And like I mentioned before, I was used to working with, you know, healthcare politicians and tech billionaires and people like this. But these were artists and writers and psychics and life coaches and therapists, all types of cool people. And we did our sessions that day, same branding I'd always done. And every single one of those 6 said some variation to me of, Mike, you didn't just tell me my brand, you explained my entire life purpose. Everything in my life is making sense. And so I'm sitting there like, what? This doesn't make sense. I don't know what's wrong with you. This is just branding. And so I'm sitting there, get off that call. I'm stunned. And I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I might as well do this on myself at this point. And so I spent 2 hours doing on myself what I did with them, just basic branding. I didn't think it was anything special. And I came out with 6 words. And those 6 words for me are aligned, zany, free, unmistakable, successful, and vulnerable. And I looked at those words, and there was just this click. And it was like, oh, I have never felt safe to be that vulnerable, or like I literally can't make a mistake, or I can be crazy and weird and zany with Garrett. That's why I'm in love with him. And oh my God, I can see why writing felt so good blogging, but the blogging course failed. And I can see why PR was successful, but not fulfilling. And it was all to do with these sensitivities, these things that I share or feel in any given moment. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. I'm having my epiphany over here. And I get an email from one of the women I worked with that day. And she said to me, hey, Mike, I was raving about our session, and my friend wants to buy this. What do you call it? Like, can we buy this thing? Do you sell it? I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's not a thing. It's branding, but you're telling me it's sacred or it's life purpose. I'll call it sacred branding. It's made up the term on the spot, not much thinking going into it. And the next day I had a client, and I worked with her, my first paying client. So I didn't ask my PR partners back yet because I had one client. Next day, another client and another client. And by 3 weeks later, I had over 30 clients. And that was 7 years ago. This was 7 years ago now. I have done it with many, many people since then, hundreds, thousands of people of every walk of life. And what we're really doing is mapping our lived experiences. We're figuring out which levers we just naturally pull every time we're successful. Just subconsciously, there's something we do in our best relationships or best friendships or in our best writing, our best business. You know, for artists, we don't have to ask ourselves anymore, like, oh, this painting's good and that one isn't. Why? Is it the time of day? Is it the medium? Was I feeling more inspired? We know exactly what we need to feel. And so that's the work that I do. It's purpose, not as something we achieve, like I want to be a life coach or a writer or a podcaster. It's purpose as what makes me feel purposeful and why did this work and this didn't. So that's how I got here.
Yeah. Wow. What a story. Um, it's amazing. And I'm I'm hoping your health is you've
It is
recovered, you're
better.
better.
Yes, yes, yes. So I am, I am, of course, dairy free, gluten free, and I try to keep my stress low, meditate a lot, all that stuff. So I have some, changes to my lifestyle. I don't drink alcohol, but thankfully, I am not vomiting blood and have not for a decade now.
Thank God. Okay, great. I just wanted to clarify and make sure that I closed the loop on that one. But so this is amazing. And then so with the sacred branding, is that how you came about to write your book? Enough Already? Create
So
success on your own terms.
yeah, so that book, Enough Already, Create Success in Your Own Terms, was the book that I got that book deal just out of nowhere. And so what's
Wow.
interesting about that is looking back at that book, that's all about defining success for yourself and noticing where you're naturally successful. And at the
Mhm.
time, I did not know that sacred branding was actually uncovering that and creating a system for people, but that's what that very book was about. And so this is the point of so much of my work, is that we all think we're all over the place. We all think none of it connects. And the truth is, it's all connected. What we're drawn to, what we're best at, why it feels so purposeful and good is all the same reason over and over again. And if we just map our lived experiences, we're going to see those reasons. It's not always going to be like the same container. We might be a teacher over here, and an energy worker over here, and a writer and a life coach and a whatever. But the thing that we were sharing with people, the thing that drew us to that is always going to be the same. Why we're magnetic, why we are so resonant is the same reason over and over again. Whether it's our relationship, our friendships, our jobs, it doesn't matter.
I've never heard anybody talk about it in those terms before, but it makes so much sense. And I love the way you talked about it being like a trigger, like a success trigger. And every time that we're successful at something in our lives, it's that same trigger across the board, whether it's relationship or work or friendship. Yeah, that's like, I'm like
Yeah.
mind
Well,
blown.
if and even now, like, I'm happy to show my hand or pull the curtain back. Like right now, what makes me so dynamic and resonant is my vulnerability and my zaniness, right? My unmistakability. I know that. I know who I am. It's why my husband loves me so much. It's why my friends really jive with me. It's why my business is successful, because I know how I know the magic sauce I hit that gets me there, because that's who I am as a human. Every human has that. And if you have anything successful in your life, which, spoiler alert, every human does, a successful friendship, business, relationship, something in your life is successful, we can map that and we can figure out exactly why, and then just how to use that everywhere so that you create a life that feels like you and contributes the most.
And also how to like uncover the habits that we've created to like protect us,
Yes,
that
absolutely.
keep us from hitting that stride each time.
Absolutely. Because the flip side of purpose that no one talks about is trauma. And so trauma is very integrated with our purpose. And when not only is this work going to tell you what makes you feel purposeful, it's going to tell you why you felt things were so traumatic. Why did that hurt so much? Because our purpose is our sensitivities, right? What we sense more, we see, taste, touch, smell, hear more in those areas. If I see more, I'm going to split hairs and be more of a genius there, right? But I'm also going to feel things deeper. I'm going to have more trauma there. And so understanding that, it's all two sides of the same coin. And of course, we've developed techniques to protect ourselves from trauma, but it's all integrated with purpose. The second we know that, we can know this is why I'm in that codependent relationship, or I have substance abuse, or I have whatever. This is what I've been really trying to feel. And let me create a new, more empowering way to experience that.
You are so wise. This is incredible. Like you're blowing my mind because that as well, nobody's ever phrased it like that before. And this is incredible work that you do.
Thank
And
you.
it's
Thank you very
really
much.
exciting to have an opportunity to hear about it. And I hope everyone out there is excited about it as I am.
Yeah. Well, for you or anyone listening, if you're like, all right, Mike, sounds cool, but I just want to like conceptualize what you're talking about for myself. We have a free worksheet and training to go through that worksheet on our website. It's totally free. Just mikeiamele.com/map, M-A-P, and it will just guide you to map your lived experiences. I mean, I'll admit I'm good, but I'm not that good. So it is just a taste, but it's going to
Of course.
really give you a lot of information about figuring out those levers for yourself and start to think about how you can use that in your life.
Great. So yeah, so let's get down to like the nitty gritty. Let everybody know where we can find your book. Let us know whatever else we need to find you. And
Yes.
we'll have all the links below to make it easy for everyone as well.
Thank you. Yep. So my book is on Amazon, of course, Barnes and Nobles, where books are sold, local bookstores. Maybe I can't guarantee it's going to be in every local bookstore, but support them. It's enough already. Create success on your own terms. And if you go to my Instagram, you can also find a link to my book right there. And then my website, mikeiamele.com/map, M-A-P. You can download that worksheet and go through a 36-minute training to start mapping your own sensitivities and purpose.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, Mike. It's been such a wonderful education.
Yeah, it's been such an honor. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. And thank you, everyone out there in the interweb, for tuning in. And I'd like to challenge you to do something that you never thought you would do. Let us know what it is in the comments and let us know where it leads you. And if you're enjoying the content, please remember to like and subscribe. Have a beautiful day.